Hello, welcome back to this episode of Bitcoin Trade. I'm going to do some quick um, view of some recent things that are happening and a chart analysis. So let's get started, shall we? Excuse me. So first thing I want to take a look at is, um, of course, all this is red, right? Here's Bitstamp, their average, the 30-day average compared to the prices right now. And what I noticed something is Mt. Gox has moved up in volume, probably due to a lot of sell-off, but everyone's selling off. But considering that Mt. Gox is a closed exchange, in other words, you can't take any money or bitcoins out, apparently, um, the volume for something that's apparently closed is pretty darn high. Compared to Bitsy and even very close to Bitstamp. So is Mt. Gox still valid? It is in my book. If they're still trading, that price is still valid. Doesn't mean that's what you have to sell your bitcoins or buy your bitcoins. No. But I will use it to try to buy bitcoins. Okay. So, these are just all different independent pricing mechanism for each exchange in each market. You can choose to use them, or you can choose a different one. Like, where's the other one? Where's local Bitcoin? You can choose to use local Bitcoins if you wanted to. Which that's about 665. That's kind of about right, Anyways, so this is just a quick glance at this, and I've all shown you this before. You all know about that, so that's not a no-brainer. So a few things I want to talk about here, and let me just take a quick look before I talk about these things here. Okay, so here's some information on Bitcoin plunges 50% on Mt. Gox, hit 230 as trouble continues. So I don't know if you heard the recent news about they mentioned that they may have a fix to their problem, and they're kind of doing something. I'm not sure. We'll find out by apparently Monday, which would be, I don't know, Sunday or actual Monday. Anyways, so there's that, and then let me see. Okay, here's the other thing I was talking about. Did the feds just open the door to marijuana banking? And I think I did an episode on that, and the answer is yes, they did. They opened the door to marijuana banking, and how does Bitcoin play into it? Well, it can play into it if they want to, but they don't have to use Bitcoins anymore. They can just use a bank straight out. Just use a bank. There was some guidelines put out, and let me see if I can find those guidelines. Okay, and here it is. All right, and there's a website for it. There's the number if you want to look it up. And this is just the guidance, okay? Excuse me. And Bank Secrecy Act expectations regarding marijuana-related businesses. So I already did an episode on this, so you should already know about this, and how it pertains as a Bitcoin trade. Anyways, watch the episode. If you're new to this, you haven't seen my episodes before, start from Bitcoin Trade 01 all the way up to current. That way you get an idea of what's going on. And remember, this is my documented experience through a video, right, through YouTube. And a lot of what I mention here are either my opinions, or in this case, this is a fact, right? This is coming from Department of the Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and here it is. All right. So some of these are facts, and then of course a lot of these are me speculating, how I speculate on the Bitcoin trade, and just other things, just my experience on the whole issue. So this is information for you, the viewer, and I don't know. The viewer can be anybody. It could be any law enforcement, government agency, banks, scammers, criminals, other investors, users, miners. I mean, I don't know who's really watching, but thank you for watching. Anyways, so there's a whole episode on this which I did. Um, Let me see here what else. Excuse me, I still got a cold. Okay, Justice Department of Justice and Treasury released marijuana banking guidance. So, I just if you've seen my previous episodes, you've seen where I address this, where if they don't come out with guidance, I mean, people are gonna just, you know, try to do something, and really, I think I don't know if it took long, but it's kind of weird how when I talked about Bitcoin, how it can be used to circumvent the current um, Bank Secrecy Act, how an investor can theoretically go to another investor and buy Bitcoins from um, just another investor. You don't have to know it's a marijuana business or not, as long as it's legal in that jurisdictions. I mean, you technically you're not really breaking any laws. Now, with the guidance coming out, there could be a chance for someone to use Bitcoin, but at the same time, because of these guidance, which allows a legitimate marijuana business to actually bank with a bank, you may just go ahead and just deal with cash. But then again, Bitcoin still has a play in here, because I think a lot of people will still use cash. Last thing you wanna do is use your uh, debit card to buy marijuana. I don't think they're gonna be at that point yet, but there could be room for a Bitcoin business where you want to be anonymous, like you don't want to hide your identity, but at the same time you don't want um, prying eyes to know who's engaged in legal marijuana use for recreational purposes or medical use. It could be a matter of privacy. So Bitcoin can be a play into this. Go ahead and just read the article. Here's the article, or there it is by this person, and there's the article, and that's the website. So, excuse me. And here's another one again. Bitcoin processors reconsider marijuana stance after new FinCEN ruling. So this is, of course, coming from CoinDesk, and so they're talking about BitPay, Coinbase, and other companies um, that may want to reconsider this whole thing. So this is where Bitcoin comes into play. But the nice thing is now the rulings come out. You don't, uh, you know, legal marijuana businesses don't have to use Bitcoin to work around the banks. They can go directly to the banks if they choose to. And if you know about BitPay and Coinbase, they work directly with the banks. And I'm not sure if they're registered as a money service business or not, but maybe they are. But if you want to work through them, you can. So there's that. And because of that, let me see here. What other things am I going to be talking about here? Let me see here. Oh, excuse me. So I just wanted to bring back the other guidance here, which came out, and this is the other guidance number. And I wanted to take a look at this one more time again, just to make sure that what basically me as a mining investor, how does this, I'm sorry, this in particular affects how that could affect um, some of my business operations. Not that I'm trying to look to do anything with marijuana related businesses, but because now this is out there, how does that affect um, my operation, right? So I had to kind of look at these guidelines one more time. I'll probably consult with my lawyer on this, and so um, we'll see. I'm gonna you know kind of present this to my lawyer, and we'll discuss the matter and see what I need to do, what I don't need to do. But I've already read all these, and I have a good idea. And I'm just going to present some things I'm going to do or would like to do, um, and then I'll talk to my legal counsel. That's all I can say. And so that's that. And yeah, so that's this right here. Again, this is kind of coming out, and I'm actually very glad that. And I'll go back to this here, or this here, and I'm actually very very glad and very proud that America is leading the way in in I guess legitimizing uh, the marijuana related businesses, because the states have you know chosen to go that way, and they've made some guidance related to that, so that they can safely operate a business, um, using the banking system in a way that can be safe, safe from criminals, safe from drug cartels, safe from scammers, um, and that way businesses, or even the consumers, or anybody else engaged in business activity with these marijuana related businesses don't have to fear I'm sorry, don't have to fear um, you know either persecution, and they can safely bank and be very prosperous and generate hopefully some business. So I'm very happy to see that they've done this. So uh, well, I'm very impressed. I really am. Also, with all the other guidance that has been put out here, like this guidance that's been put out there, and also what other guidance, and this guidance as well, that that has been put out there. So mainly I'm looking at this one right here for me. This is the one that I'm particularly looking at, the virtual currency mining operations, um, and I think they talk about right here, and certain investment activity. So um, I'm using these guidelines set out by the Department of Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, okay? And I'm following these guidelines, and I'm working within this legal framework, um, just all of them all together. Um, well, not this, but I just wanted to see this, because I know there's probably some operations, uh, marijuana related businesses that use Bitcoin, and this. So I'm trying to work with all in the legal framework here. Um, and so I think it's very important for every Bitcoin trader, or every Bitcoin miner, and their mining operations, to understand what this is, and remember what a miner what a miner is, and what a mining operation is. All right. Um, it doesn't mean that you have to have a mining rig and an internet connection and all that to be a mining operation. The way it's defined here is a miner can be anybody who basically somehow acquires Bitcoin, uh, mainly through purchase, earnings, auto generation, harvesting. Harvesting can be something that I do as well. Um, excluding purchasing and earnings, but the typical meaning of a miner as well. But those are a user, an investor, and an actual miner are all grouped into the definition of mining. So mining operations could be, again, someone like me who how they mine for uh, coins, bitcoins. Um, you know, is is depending on my business model, right? Um, so this applies to me here. So I'm just looking over it again, and I want to actually keep a copy of this so I can just remind myself what the limitations are um, as far as what I legally can do and cannot do. So, so I just want to bring that up, and then let me see here. Okay, so here's some other things here. Let me actually go to this article here first, which caught my eye here, and I love reading it. I enjoyed reading it very much. Um, Bitcoin cryptocurrency Ponzi crash grinds towards zero. Where's Max Keiser hiding? So, does anybody know who? If those people who don't know who Max Keiser is, he has his own little his show. I think it's called the Max Keiser Show on Russian television called RT. I've seen some of his shows. I do enjoy watching his shows. I think it's very entertaining and to some degree very enlightening as well. Um, so if you never heard of who Max Keiser is, well, this author right here, um, well, it's kind of interesting. Basically, this author basically is not very doesn't think very highly of bitcoins, and some of the things I don't understand, and I'll go to some of the other articles here. But this author obviously doesn't think very highly of bitcoins, and also this author as well may not think of bitcoins very highly, or maybe not. But he does quote somebody, and this name looks familiar. Excuse me. Let me see, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So there it is, Mr. Williams, of course. And I've actually seen some of his articles and read them, and his articles are very well written. If I'm Mark Williams, okay. And this is the guy. I remember the name because I guess he had a little bio where Boston University finance professor. I guess he also used to be a Federal Reserve something something and a commodity trader. So he's quoted him here. And so these are all very interesting articles. I loved reading it, and yes, to a certain degree, you're correct in some of your assumptions. But at the same time, I have to admit, um, if you never traded Bitcoin, or if you trade Bitcoins in the traditional sense of a stock or a bond or stuff like that, I think you're missing the point. It doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is on any exchange, because if you knew what you were kind of talking about, you would realize that there are different exchanges, and anybody who trades, basically we're using these numbers as a guidance to a price discovery. It has nothing to do, these prices are not compulsory in any way. So unlike some of the things that maybe a lot of these reporters or intellectuals I would call a lot of people who are economists intellectuals because I don't know if they ever actually owned a business or ran a business or actually even trade things and made money. Because if they did, then they would know what I'm talking about. I would assume. Maybe they do. But you would think that if they wanted to know anything about Bitcoin, that they would trade in Bitcoin. But maybe they're not trading in the way I'm trading it. So if you've seen my episodes, like I said, I've been telling people, go back to '01, Bitcoin Trade '01, and work your way all the way through up. I don't reveal everything. I put a lot of, I try to inform people, and I'm as I'm discovering these things, I'm sharing them with you. And the more I trade, the more I get deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole, the more and more this is becoming so bizarre, so crazy. I mean, look at okay, it's becoming so bizarre and so crazy. Um, what I find so weird is the authors of these stories. If they hate Bitcoin so much, why are you all talking about it? If you hate it so much, why don't you just like ignore Bitcoin and let it go down to zero? Why try to make a smear campaign? Um, anyways, if you all traded in Bitcoin and you like basically I'll put it this way, I was like you guys. I thought Bitcoin was a joke. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's what the hell is this thing? But if any of you guys understand what money is and how money's created, and you realize, obviously you gotta know. I mean, you went to school, right? Everybody these guys must have went to school. They talk about money like as if they went to like a 4-year or 10-year or 20-year university, and they got their degrees in economics. So they must know what money is. It's pretty obvious. Money is an instrument of debt, right? So if you know what that is, then if you trade in Bitcoin, you know what Bitcoin is, and you know where Bitcoin gets its value. It gets its value from money. Okay, the same. Bitcoin is money. Bitcoin is fiat currency. All right. Where do you think the value of Bitcoin comes from? It comes from fiat currency. So Bitcoin is fiat currency. All right. So when you talk about Bitcoin in this way, what are you guys really talking about? You guys are really talking about fiat currency. All right. So if you replace Bitcoin with fiat currency, all right. So fiat currency, Ponzi crash grinds towards zero. Yes, this is true. You could, if you replace Bitcoin cryptocurrency, which I guess he's trying to make fun of the word crypto as in cryptocurrency, but if you replace this with fiat currency, this is totally true. Just as much as you can put Bitcoin cryptocurrency, this is totally true as well. Okay? I would say if you replace this with fiat currency, it becomes even more true, because if I'll give you an example. I mean, this is, I mean, 1 + 1 is 2, right? I mean, you don't, if you go outside and the sky is blue, can you say people the sky is blue? Is somebody going to say no, the sky is red? Well, anyways, my point is, 20 years ago, all right, when I was driving around in my little piece of crap car, gas was $1.50 in California. Okay. Now the price of gas in California is over $3, sometimes over $4. If you look in that sense, fiat currency Ponzi crash grinds towards zero. Uh, I'll just tell you right now, the value of your money has gone down in value. Although the face value is still the same, the thing you can buy with it has gone up in price. So reality is, you know, fiat currency is crashing towards zero. You can say the same thing about Bitcoin as well, because Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin comes from fiat currency. So when you talk about fiat currency, or when you talk about Bitcoin, you're really talking about your fiat currency. So I'm looking at this, I'm going, well, all they're doing is talking about fiat currency. The same can be applied to fiat currency as if you replace these words with Bitcoin cryptocurrency. So there you go. Anyways, I just find it weird that people who hate Bitcoin like to write about Bitcoin and everything. So it's just weird. And I would say before, I can honestly say that I know what I'm talking about, because I've done exactly the same stuff you've done. I've traded in Forex, I've traded stocks, I've bought and sold homes, I've dealt with, fiat currency all my life. Alright? So, and I realized something. I'm not getting anywhere. Okay? I'm not getting anywhere. And neither are you. You're not getting anywhere either unless you're committing fraud, which I believe a lot of these financial institutions, to a certain degree, they do. They do commit fraud. And, I can honestly say I can smell fraud a mile away. Alright, so, I mean, that's just my opinion, but anyways, that's it for that. Let's go on to a chart right now, so we don't have to look at these articles anymore, but I did want to recap on this one more time. Finally, I think America's really going to lead in cryptocurrencies. They're really going to make legitimize cryptocurrencies, not because I don't think that because they want to. I think that because they want to regulate, they want to monitor, and I don't mind it, because right now it seems that it does need to, because my experience with Bitcoin so far has been there's like, for every 10 scammers there are, excuse me, in Bitcoin, there's probably one real true Bitcoin trader. After you legalize Bitcoin, all those scammers they're all gonna go away. They're all gonna run away somewhere. They're gonna do something else now, because they realize that now they can be prosecuted and jailed for basically committing crimes with Bitcoin and any other cryptocurrency. So if they're gonna go to Dogecoin or whatever coin, or some other bullshit coin, well, you're still going to be prosecuted. You're going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and yeah, you will be going to jail. And that's fine by me. I mean, I really don't have any tolerance for criminals, really. Being a victim of a crime is not a fun thing to experience. And so let's go on to the charts. Excuse me. Let me pull down here so you can get a better view. So this is a Bitstamp, and it's still following that downtrending line, but there could be some hope that there might be a breakout here, because I think it's a lot of people are getting exhausted from all these sales here. And yes, it's driven down to about 500, but let's put things in perspective, okay? If you went a year ago from now, I don't know what the price was, but I know it was way under 500. So from where it is now, I mean, this works for me. And if you know what Bitcoin is and you know how it works, you understand how to trade Bitcoin in a way that you're able to gain either U.S. dollars or Bitcoin. Okay, I'm an investor. I don't care about the central banks. I'm not trying to replace the central banks. I'm just trying to reap the fruits of my labor here. And my labor is trading at the exchange, trading in real world, converting my virtual currencies, virtual currencies into a legal tender, and then reinvesting with my legal tender into a physical asset, back into an electronic asset. I mean, all I'm doing is I'm playing the markets at a hyper level. All right, I can make gains on exchange rates, make gains on whatever. It doesn't matter. My purchasing power. Uh, it doesn't matter. I'm literally hyper trading, and it's not limited just to a particular stock like Apple, Google, or whatever. Um, this Bitcoin allows me to diversify my currency holdings into many other asset holdings. Okay, that allows me to basically become uh, wealthy in the sense that um, my investments are appreciating in value. It's that simple. So no matter what the price is, um, if it goes down to $1, well, guess what? I'll just buy 1,000 bitcoins or 10,000 bitcoins. It's still $10,000. Okay. Um, so it doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is. It's the it's how I use Bitcoin to make my gains. Okay, how I use my Bitcoins to make my gains. It's not really about the price. And I started understanding that as soon as I started trading. Because if you remember, if you go back to the very first episodes where I started introducing um, the whole episode series, the Bitcoin trade, I've told you when I first heard about it, Bitcoin was like $6. Well, if I knew what I knew then, what I knew now, not where the price has gone up, but how the price of Bitcoin doesn't affect how I can make a gain and increase my wealth. It doesn't. So, um, but the price action helps in that gain as well. So it doesn't really matter. The price of what it is doesn't matter. Okay, I learned that right off the bat. Like, even if it was $1,000, it doesn't matter. If you're willing to invest and you understand how Bitcoin works and you know what it is, I just can't see um, how you can lose out. I really don't. And I understand other financial instruments. I just don't have a lot of faith in those other financial instruments like I do with Bitcoin, because I know it's not controlled by anybody. What Bitcoin does, it does because those are the market demands. Those are supply demands. Um, it's kind of nice to know that this is the true price of this Bitcoin in this market. Okay, and then this is also a true price of this Bitcoin in this market. So it doesn't it doesn't really matter. And I talk about hyper trades. I'm starting to trade on all three of these exchanges, and it doesn't matter to me what the price is on these exchanges. What matters to me is the price movement of these exchanges and how I play against this price movement against the real world price movements and the real world trades and these trades that are equal to other assets. I mean, this is going to get crazy. All right, you can take a trade off another trade based on your one Bitcoin trade. Um, you know, there's you can hedge. All right. It could be a form of some kind of insurance, or what do they call it? Whatever futures contract, whatever it is. You can do all these kind of different concepts with Bitcoin in relation to other assets or currency value, um, gold, silver, whatever you want to do, diamonds, an actual business, an operating actual. You can use an investment as far as what you invest into an actual business that's real business in the real world. I mean, what I like about Bitcoin is it becomes whatever you want it to be that suits your needs. And that's why it's so wonderful. It's so great for me because I understand what it is. And for people who don't understand what it is, that's fine. You don't have to. Just let me understand it, and you just sit there and watch. So, um, so here it is, and doing the same thing, and we'll see what happens. It's either going to break up or break down, right? Or go sideways. There's only three things that can happen. So trading Bitcoins is not that hard. And if these guys over here, if if they can walk the walk as easy as they can talk the talk, I'd listen to them. I mean, I wouldn't, if they trade in bitcoins and the value of their bitcoins is going towards zero, I wouldn't be listening to these people. Excuse me. So, all right. So here's the Mount Gox, and hey, if it's still moving, it's still valid. We won't know until something, I believe Monday. We'll find out whether this whole issue, withdrawal issue's been resolved or not. And it's kind of interesting. I had someone ask me if they can buy at Mt. Gox price, and I was like, yeah, if you have a Mt. Gox account, I will sell you Mt. Gox at a Mt. Gox price, and I'll send it to your Mt. Gox account. If only if you have a Mt. Gox account, you can buy at Mt. Gox price. Um, Anyways, I get a lot of people, probably some miners or maybe some people who are trying to do what I do. I get a lot of them contacting me, asking me how am I doing this? What's your marketing? What's your operations like? And you know what? You don't have to. If someone comes up to you and tells you or asks you that, you don't have to tell them anything. All right, it's none of your business how I operate, my business, because that's a trade secret. All right, it's simple as that. I don't have to patent my trade secret. Okay, I just simply say trade secret, that which means none y'all business, none ya, none y'all business. Anyways, um, so it's none of your business. All right, it's a trade secret, and if I divulge that information, I lose my competitive edge. So what would be that's like saying, hey, Apple, what's it cost to make your, iPhones? And how can I make them as cheap as you? They're not going to tell you. Or it's like going up to Google and say, hey, Google, what's your source code? Can we get a copy of your programs? Hell no. So anyways, I get a lot of people asking me about that, and I just have to say, hey, it's a trade secret. You know, why don't you spend your time and your money figuring how to operate your business, and don't worry about mine. Um, so there's that, and again, just until this actually breaks through, we're probably going to see more downtrend, which is fine by me because I mean, man, this thing's so cheap, and you really got to be long in Bitcoin to not even worry about this. You really do. Um, I am buying, but I'm buying. I'm not buying like 100 coins at a time, 100 Bitcoins at a time. I'm actually just buying little spurts here and there, where I feel I'm getting good value. And so far, I have to admit, I've spent like a small percentage of what I have here at Mt. Gox, and the amount of Bitcoin that I've been able to acquire is incredible. I mean, I can't believe the amount of money that I'm buying these Bitcoins, and, and for what I'm getting. It's a bargain. It's a deal. I mean, and here's the thing. What do you got to lose? If you're already in there and you're stuck, what do you got to lose? Go ahead. Go buy them out. I mean, if you feel, I mean, if you don't think you're gonna get your money anyway, so I mean, here's the thing. If, all right, scenario number one, you do get your money back, right? It's operational. You can withdraw everything. Are you gonna leave and then go somewhere else? Compared to a $300 Bitcoin price versus a $600 Bitcoin price? I mean, you're really gonna do that? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna be here at Mount Gox, and I'll buy all the Bitcoins I can at 300 bucks. That's not a problem. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and send my Bitcoins over to Bitstamp, and then I'm gonna cash out. And I'm gonna cash out from Bitstamp, and I'm gonna buy some more over here at Mount Gox, and then I'm gonna cash out again, and then I'm gonna bring some more back here. I mean, you think that's not gonna happen? It's gonna happen, all right? So don't fool yourself. So maybe it'll happen, maybe not. We don't know. Well, it all depends on what Mt. Gox does. Then again, once Mt. Gox announces this, you think everyone's just gonna buy up these Bitcoins at a cheaper price? Hell yeah. That's the first thing that's gonna happen. Now, whether they stay at Mt. Gox or not, I don't know. Me personally, as long as I can withdraw Bitcoins, I'll still trade at Mt. Gox. You know, it's for me. It's very important to have an account and be able to trade on all different platforms. Mt. Gox, Bitsy, Bitstamp. It doesn't matter. It's important for me to trade on all platforms. Because I'm doing some hyper trades. So basically, in a way, I'm leveraging my trades. So basically, my one trade or one trade on each, or then again, I can do fractional trades that equal to maybe one Bitcoin, whatever, and I could play off all three, and it doesn't really matter. It's just another way of trading. That's all it is. So. Anyways, I think I talked long enough. Sorry about this if this is kind of long. Um, you know, I try to keep things short. There was a lot to talk about here in this episode. But anyways, for the most part, you can feel free to comment, like, dislike, or even do a video response. I find it very interesting. Some of the things I talk about are starting to come out as news. Now, are they watching me? I don't know. Am I in the right time at the right place? Maybe. Anyways, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye now.